Hi, we're Wax Chaotic and we are coming to you from Minicon in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We are going to do one of our convention videos. It's been a little while since we've done one, so we hope you enjoy this new song. It's going to be on my next album called Untitled, because I am a freak like that. That will hopefully be out sometime this summer. This song is called Partners in Crime. Our poor parents had no inkling of just what it was they bore. They somehow never imagined they could create such terror. But we hit the wide world running with mischief in our eyes, a talent for wreaking havoc and a penchant for mud pies. And when we met, we felt a resonance in the other, and we knew a kindred soul had come by chance, and just me became we two. So let's away, there are legends for us to write. Let's away, for adventure is in our sights. We'll spend the day in our own version of once upon a time, where the exploits often vary, but we're always partners in crime. It may be 97 or it may be 10 below. Whatever the weather, back to the creek we go. When it's frozen, it's time for walking. When it's warm, let's take a swim. Hey, I've got some marshmallow birds, the first to smell some wind. Later, if I'm of the opinion, and if everyone agrees, that dress up's getting boring, then Barbie dolls belong in trees. Let's away, there are legends for us to write. Let's away, for adventure is in our sights. We'll spend the day in our own version of once upon a time, where the exploits often vary, but we're always partners in crime. It's the stories we write together that make the world come alive. For nothing feeds my spirit like the wonders we can strive. Adventuring is richer with a cohort by my side, sharing the experience and match me stride for stride. We have raided all the closets for every blanket, long or short. In conjunction with the sofa, they make a lovely fort. In the hazy gloom we rest, and maybe have a snack. Then later in the afternoon, a tiger might attack. Come go out and breathe the downpour so heavy I can't see my nose. We'll carol at the thunder's roar and dance all day on dirty toes. Let's away, there are legends for us to write. Let's away, for adventure is in our sights. We'll spend the day in our own version of once upon a time, where the exploits often vary, but we're always partners in crime. Thank you very much for listening. Now, after the cut, it'll be time for a little Q&A. So the question for our Q&A section this time comes to us from someone who is wondering what software package or packages we use for recording and mixing. I actually have a full blog post about this on my my studio blog, and I will link that down in the comments if you want to read more in depth about it later. But for right now, I will say that for recording we use Sonar 8.5 Producer Edition, which I gather is not something that's really preferred by a lot of industry people, and I can sort of see why the user interface is not overly friendly, but it's what I learned in school and it's what I know how to use, so it's what I use because it's more efficient than learning how to completely use something that's, or relearning how to use something that's completely new to me. So that's what we use for recording. And for mixing is the same, but for mastering, which was not actually part of the question, but I'm going to go ahead and include it anyway because mastering is an important part of the process. I use a bit of software called SoundForge, which is produced by Sony. And again, is something that I learned how to use in school. So, and it does a lot of nifty things. Both it and Sonar do a lot of nifty things. I know Sonar in particular has the option for a lot of plugins for stuff. If you go to dragonscale.bandcamp.com, shameless plug, and listen to track 4 on Faces in the Fog, which is Fall from Grace, I do believe it's track 4, you'll hear an electric guitar in that song, which is not actually an electric guitar, it's this thing with a special plugin that's part of Sonar, that came with my version of Sonar. So it can do lots of other nifty stuff that I haven't quite gotten the chance to experiment with yet, but that will probably be happening in future projects.
The plugin is basically a distortion pedal, so.
And it has all kinds of nifty settings and stuff. Well, sort of on this topic, Mr. Sean, I know that you have some opinions as to what it's like to record in the studio. Do you want to share any of those thoughts with our viewers?
It can be kind of rough. It's very different than performing live or performing in a folk circle. There's a lot of not a lot of
by comparison.
By comparison, there's a lot of pressure to get things right the first time, because then if you don't get it right the first time, you have to go. The engineer
is like, we need to redo that spot again.
Go back and fix it, and then then you have to listen to what you played before and try to match up as best you can. And that can get a little tricky sometimes.
Even though we do record everything with a metronome, you know, sometimes you get excited, and so you might rush a little bit in spots, and you try and smooth those out, and you try and match them up.
And I tend to be especially bad at not being able to follow the metronome all that well.
But that is what practice is for, as we mentioned in one of our older videos. So
we started practicing with the metronome.
Yeah,
before
in the
recording.
studio.
That helps.
In the studio, you know, with the headphones, and we pipe it through the studio monitor so we can really hear what we're doing. When we know we're about to record a song, we'll spend some time, you know, each night for like, you know, a few nights leading up to it, making sure that we're practicing with the metronome. And
at least a week.
Yeah.
I feel a week gives me enough practice with the metronome, generally speaking.
Just because it's so different from the more fluid way that you perform when you're performing live.
So that helps me to match up with the tempo a little better. With the tempo we've settled on.
Get it in your blood.
Get the rhythm.
So that's it for this time. We have a slew of conventions coming up this year, so if your question was not answered this time, keep an eye out for future videos, because this is definitely something that we actually want to keep doing this year.
Yeah.
And, yeah, as always, thanks for watching. See you on the internet, and hopefully in the audience.
Bye, internet!